Hello, Facebook friends. It's Dr. Sherry, ready for your daily dose of real estate investing. Today, we're going to talk a little bit and get you to think a little bit about teaching your kids about real estate investing. So, why is this important, right? Why should we teach our kids about real estate investing? If you have kids, this is really, really important. And this is why. If you've listened to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he talks about and brings to light this generational pattern that ends up happening if you look at some of the biggest and wealthiest families and kind of what happens over time with generations. You have for example, the big oil moguls that just got huge amounts of wealth from oil, from the railroad, from whatever, all these different, industries, and they amass an amazing amount of money. But as the generations get access to this money, something predictable starts to happen. The money is not generating new wealth, but rather it's being spent, dwindled, and then there ends up not being money left. And the reason that this happens is because some of the values and the principles that were critical in the lives of the folks that developed the wealth, those values weren't required of the future generations. So think about it, the hard work, the perseverance, the risk, the courage, the tenacity it took for massive wealth to be built in some of these new areas. But then the children of those people, they don't have to necessarily have the same courage, tenacity, necessity around, learning how to do things and to try new things and to take risks and to do all these things. They didn't have to do that. They grew up in a family where they were able to be comfortable. And then they got used to that comfort. And what happens when we get used to being comfortable? We do whatever we need to do to maintain that comfort. It's hard to get out of a state of comfort. And if you have comfort and you have amazing possibilities, some of the natural instincts as humans is to protect that comfort. And so one of the most important things that you can do with your kids as you are working on building your wealth is to not let your kids just live and rest in the comfort of the money that you're making, but rather teach and train them to have courage, to speak up, to try the hard things, to have perseverance, that it's okay to fail. Because if they fail, that means they're learning. And if they're learning, that means they're growing. And if they're growing, that means they're taking risks, which means they're going to fail. It's this cycle. But if they don't learn some of these super valuable principles in life, they're going to get used to just having the cool, nice things. They're going to be comfortable in that. And all they're going to be thinking about, whether consciously or unconsciously, is how do I maintain this lifestyle? How do I maintain my comfort? And no longer are they focused on some of the wealth building strategies that you've used to grow your wealth. Rather, they're just spending and spending because they didn't learn. They didn't experience the hard work that it took and that it takes to build wealth, to have financial freedom, and to have so much so, and to have a foundation where future generations get to benefit off of that. My kids are between the ages of 10 and 14, and so they're in that age where they are starting to understand money and the principles around money and how the world works and all of these different things. And it's so fascinating to be able to introduce them into some of our business and our different businesses that we're doing, and trying to help them understand the principles that we believe they need to know in order to be successful and to continue to be successful. So what I encourage you to do is think about your kids. Where are they developmentally? How old are they? What are some of the challenges that they're currently experiencing? Help them understand, first of all, where they are developmentally, and then help create lessons around where they are developmentally that they can understand to help them learn that hard work is valuable. Now, side note, hard work doesn't mean always like hard physical work, but it does mean smart work. So whatever hard work and smart work looks like in your life, teach that to them. Explain to them. I know sometimes it's so easy for me as a parent when my kids are asking me like, why? Question. For me to be like, okay, just stop talking. Just let me do it. Because sometimes them interjecting and asking why and all that sort of stuff, it just makes things last longer. I mean, it takes longer to do anything. I'm telling you, I go to the grocery store with my kids and it takes twice as long to go to the grocery store. So a lot of times I don't even want to take them. But guess what I'm doing when I don't do that is I'm robbing them of the opportunity to learn how to grocery shop, to learn how to take two items and evaluate which one is a better deal. It's not just based on the price, it's based on the dollar per pound or, the dollar per ounce or whatever it is. Or to help them understand, how do you read the labels? It's not always about price. In fact, a lot of times it's not about price. It's about which one doesn't have the high fructose corn syrup. But if they don't go with me to the grocery store, how are they ever going to learn that? Same principles apply to your real estate investing career. No matter what you're doing, what kind of investing you do, bring your kids and invite them into the investing with you, because that is the training ground that you are giving them and blessing them with so that they can continue on with the good hard work that you are laying the foundation for right now. So think about all the things. Selling is one of the most feared professions ever. Like, people just don't like to sell. I don't know why. Okay, yeah, I really do know why. In fact, I'm one of those people. I really had to push myself to sell and to get out of my comfort zone in that. But you know what's cool is that kids often don't fear selling. It's really more of a socially constructed idea that they end up learning once they become a little bit more self-aware and self-conscious. Then they start thinking about selling in a whole different way. But if you can get your kids to start selling at an early age, they've already got that experience. You're setting them up for success, because what selling does is it helps kids start to learn the psychology of the way other people think. It starts helping kids understand how to problem solve, because I'm not selling you what you don't want. I have to sell you in a way that I meet a need for you. That's a hugely valuable skill. It helps them get out of their comfort zone if they do have a little bit of a social anxiety. I mean, I love it when my kids' school has an event or something, and they're selling tickets. Man, I don't exactly want to go around my neighborhood, knock on doors, and sell tickets, but I look forward to this because it's an opportunity for me to step out in courage and to demonstrate to my kids and have them do it. And I'll tell you, they kill it. They rock it so much better than I do. But for them to have that experience is invaluable. Teaching your kids about credit cards. This is a switch that my husband and I did with our kids just this year. We got them all, not credit cards, but debit cards, because what it was happening is, they would do chores, they would do things to earn money at home. And they ended up having to keep cash, or we would have to keep cash. And one day it occurred to me, like, duh, my kids need to learn how to use plastic, because if they don't learn at home what it means, how to be responsible with it, then they're not necessarily going to learn as an adult, or they're going to have some really hard lessons that I would rather them learn at a young age with just a little bit of money. So they have debit cards. And so we just transfer, whenever they earn money at home for doing work and stuff like that, I just transfer a little bit of money from our checking account into theirs, and they get to keep track of it. They understand that it's not endless. They know at any moment, they know how much money is in their checking account and how much they're able to use in their debit card. So that's a fundamental principle. There's so many pieces of real estate investing. We take our kids and have them clean houses. Sometimes it's, we've done this before with one of our Airbnbs. We have a cleaning crew that flips our Airbnbs between guests. But they were all on vacation one time. And so I was like, well, kids, get your rubber gloves on. And so I went with them and we did it. We vacuumed, cleaned the toilets, did everything out. And while I don't necessarily want my kids to feel like they have to do all of that really hard work for the rest of their life to earn money, because as again, going back to Rich Dad, it's not about trading your time for money. That's, as an entrepreneur, if we're moving towards the B quadrant or the I quadrant, that's not what we want to do. But I don't want my kids to be spoiled. I don't want them to think that just things are given to them, they always get the best or anything like that. They need to put in hard work. They need to understand that everybody comes from somewhere, and they have to earn their right to be able to move up in the investing space as well. What are some other things that you could have your kids do? I guess another example is sometimes we have to do yard cleanup. They'll be out trimming bushes and different things like that. We take them to a lot of the homes that we do investments or that we'll buy and then we'll sell or whatever, and just kind of explain what we're doing. We have a house right now that we've completely gutted. That has been fun. First of all, because I was able to bring the kids out to see this disaster of a house before we did anything to it, how disgusting it was. And then they get to see it all framed out, completely ripped up, but framed out newly. And it's just been really fun that they get to see the transitions that happen in real estate investing as well. And if there's a last thing I could, leave with you as an idea, is the game cash flow. Again, it's a Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I love his principles. I love the series of books that he has. I think they're really timeless and super valuable and address this idea of generational learning and generational wealth. And so the game of cash flow is so cool because it starts to teach the kids that sometimes it's really good to create a debt because it's a good debt because it's creating cash flow. And so that game in and of itself has really taught my kids some really interesting principles that we get to talk about while the game is going on. And we love playing it when we're camping because it's pretty uninterrupted time. And it's just a really good opportunity to learn. So I encourage you, no matter where you are in real estate investing, no matter what kind of real estate investing you do, no matter what your family constellation looks like, if you've got kids that are my age, if you've got really young kids, if you don't even have kids yet, or maybe your kids are grown, maybe you have regrets on what you didn't teach your own kids, but you have grandchildren. There's always opportunities for you to be able to impart your wisdom into the next generation. And maybe you never had kids, and maybe you have neighbors that have kids, or friends at church, or you teach some sports class, like maybe a softball coach or something. There are kids in your life that you could have an opportunity to mentor in this way. And that is a way for you to be able to leave the world and the next generations better than how you found it. So I hope this was valuable for you today. I hope this idea about how to teach your kids some of the most important principles around real estate investing, around mindset, around how you view money and the use of money, that you teach them intentionally. Because if you don't teach them intentionally, they will learn from someone else. And you don't want that to happen. So I hope this was valuable for you. Comment below with any ideas or sparks of things that you can do so that we can pass that information on to the next person. Because the next person that sees this video, they might see your comment and be like, oh my gosh, it's genius. I'm totally doing that. So let's pass the knowledge and the wisdom on. Have a fantastic day.